This is the demonstration video for the buttermilk pancakes with berry sauce and fried turkey bacon. Your cooking principles are as follows. 1. The muffin method of mixing. Pancakes are mixed with the muffin method. The muffin method consists of 3 steps. Step 1. We sift all our dry ingredients together. Step 2. We combine all our liquid ingredients together. And step 3. We make a well in the dry ingredients and add the liquids in all at once. Cooking principle number 2. Type of quick bread, quick and easy to make. Rises quickly because it uses baking powder to rise and not yeast. Leavening agents are ingredients that cause our products to rise. Baking powder is the leavening agent most frequently used in flour mixtures. It is a commercially prepared leavening agent made from an acid and a salt form, soda, which is usually sodium bicarbonate, and starch, which is usually cornstarch. When mixed with a liquid, they create carbon dioxide gas, which will cause our muffins to rise. Baking soda will act as a leavening agent when it's combined with another acidic substance, such as buttermilk or sour cream, vinegar, or even cream of tartar. When it's combined with one of these ingredients, it too will also produce carbon dioxide gas that will help raise our flour mixture. Cooking principle number 3. Pancakes are an example of a pour batter. This describes the consistency of the pancake mixture before it is cooked in a frying pan. The batter is thin enough to be poured from a bowl or liquid measure. The reason why the mixture is this consistency is because there is approximately 1 part liquid ingredients to 1 part dry ingredients. Nutrition. First up, the pancakes. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are responsible for supplying the body with energy, sparing protein, and assisting the utilization of fats. Berry sauce. Vitamin C. It is essential for growth, development, and repair of the body tissues. It is also needed for the absorption of iron, proper functioning of the immune system, wound healing, and the maintenance of cartilage, bones, and teeth. Turkey bacon. Protein. It is essential for building muscle, repairing all types of body tissue, regulating body processes, forming antibodies to fight infection, and supplying your body with energy. Ingredients. For the pancakes, you will need 250 milliliters all-purpose flour. Flour helps add to the structure of our product, especially when mixed with a liquid and gluten is produced. Gluten, therefore, becomes a mesh-like structure that helps entrap the gases formed by our leavening agent, creating our final height of our product. 15 milliliters sugar. Sugar will not only add to the sweetness of our pancakes today, but it will also caramelize when subjected to the heat of the pan, turning your pancake golden brown. That way you know when it's time to flip, or when your pancake is done. 5 milliliters baking powder. Baking powder is a leavening agent that, when combined with a liquid, will help produce the carbon dioxide gas needed to leaven our pancakes today. 2 milliliters of baking soda. Baking soda is a leavening agent that, when combined with an acidic ingredient, will help create carbon dioxide gas, which is the leavener that will rise our product today. The acid in today's recipe will be the buttermilk. 1 milliliter salt. Salt enhances natural flavors found within any recipe. Today's recipe features a tanginess of buttermilk, which will be prominent with the help of the salt. 30 milliliters of butter melted. This will have a tenderizing effect as it interferes with the development of gluten. This will cause our pancakes to be a little bit lighter and fluffier and softer. 1 large egg. Eggs act as emulsifiers, bringing together 2 unlikely ingredients in the same mixture. In today's recipe, the melted butter as well as the buttermilk will help combine together to be a more cohesive mixture. 250 milliliters buttermilk. Buttermilk will be used to help moisten our dry ingredients and start the gluten formation in our flour. It is necessary to help release the carbon dioxide from our baking powder, and because it is acidic, it will activate our other leavening agent, baking soda. It will help reduce steam and act as a secondary leavener, contribute to the nutritional value of our pancake, and feature a tangy flavor, which is our main flavor of this dish today. Side protein. 4 slices of turkey bacon. Turkey bacon makes a great side dish as it's both lower in saturated fat and sodium compared to regular bacon while still being high in protein. And finally, the ingredients for the berry sauce. 125 milliliters of water. Water is key to help dissolving the sugar, but also to help boil our fruit to break down their fibrous content, releasing a natural compound called pectin. Pectin is important for thickening our sauce, making it somewhere in between a jam and a syrup. 125 milliliters of mixed berries. You can go with any combination of fruit. This is purely your choice of flavor. This bag that I'm using today has a mix of strawberries, blueberries, cherries, and raspberries. Really what we want is fruit that is high in vitamin C to pair well with our side protein, because absorbing iron from our protein dish only is possible with vitamin C. 15 milliliters of cornstarch. Cornstarch is a thickener, and it's great to be using it if you don't have enough pectin being released from your fruit. When the cornstarch is heated, it will start to absorb water, thickening the mixture as the molecules swell up 6 to 10 times their original size. 15 milliliters sugar. Sugar will help sweeten our berry sauce today. It's perfect if you picked a fruit that's slightly on the tart or bitter side, or if your fruit happens to be underripe. The sugar will help bring forward the fruit's natural sweetness in the sauce. These are all the ingredients that you will need to make the buttermilk pancakes with berry sauce and fried turkey bacon. Equipment. For this recipe, you will need measuring equipment, including dry measures, a liquid measure, and small measures. Metal spatula, custard cups, large mixing bowl, medium mixing bowl, a metal spoon, metal pie plate, a sieve, 2 wooden spoons, rubber spatula, 2 frying pans, saucepan, lifter, cookie sheet, oven mitts, hot mat, tongs, dinner plate, and finally, paper towel. Method. Bachette stands for the beginning steps that you need to do at the start of your lab. B stands for books and bags. They should be away either at the back of the classroom or under your table. A stands for apron, which you need to put on to help protect your clothing. S stands for sleeves. You need to roll them up past your elbows. H stands for long hair that touches the shoulders that needs to be tied back, or hats that need to be removed. C stands for chairs that should be tucked under your table and out of your way. H stands for hands that should be washed properly for 30 seconds using hot water and soap. E stands for equipment, which you should be getting out as quickly as possible without wasting time. And T stands for the towels that you need to pick up. You need at least 2 dishcloths and 2 tea towels. Method for the buttermilk pancakes. Step 1. Use oven racks number 3. Preheat oven to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, 90 degrees Celsius. Will be used to keep pancakes warm. To turn on our oven, hit the bake button, and this time use the down arrow to select the desired temperature. It is actually a very low temperature. We're only keeping our pancakes warm, not cooking them. Step 2. In a custard cup, melt butter for 20 seconds on high. In another custard cup, beat egg. Now we want to make sure you measure your butter using the water displacement method. It's really easy to do. Simply put cold water into a liquid measure at 100 milliliters, and slowly using 2 spoons, put butter underneath the water line. Slowly the water line will move up as the volume of the water increases. Make sure the butter touches the bottom of the cup and is not floating on top. That way you're measuring accurately. Once you have your 30 milliliters, carefully pour off the excess water, and your butter is all perfectly measured. Then, transfer your butter to a custard cup and put into the microwave. Make sure you're listening for popping sounds because that means your butter might be exploding and you'll have a really big mess to clean up. When your butter almost looks like it's perfectly melted but still has a few solid chunks floating in it, just give it a quick stir with a metal spoon. The heat of the melted butter will quickly dissolve any solid pieces left. You don't have to keep microwaving until the whole dish is perfectly liquefied. Just make sure you give it a good old stir. In a second custard cup, I would like you to crack the egg on the counter, not the edge of the glass in case you get shell into the dish, and whip it up with a fork, making sure that we really break the yolk and combine it well with the egg white. Remember, the emulsifying properties of an egg is mainly found within the yolk, so we really want to make sure that we've really mixed it well. Step 3. Sift flour, measure, and sift again into a large bowl. Lightly stir in the sugar, baking powder, baking soda, and salt. This is the first step of the muffin method. Now we sift flour for 2 reasons. 1, to remove any lumps that might be found within our flour, especially since we tend to live in a moist environment and our flour buckets do tend to lump up quite easily. But 2, to add in air. Air is super important. Air pockets found within our flour helps allow the carbon dioxide to push through a little bit easier, causing your product to rise much taller than it normally would. It's very important that we have a nice light and fluffy product today, so air pockets are a good thing. When you're remeasuring the flour, you can tell how much air you've added in because there should be some flour left behind in your metal pie plate. Again, we want to make sure we're treating the flour very gently when you're scooping it into your dry measure, and you get to sift it one more time, trying to add in more air pockets if possible. Once you have all the flour in the large bowl, we're going to lightly stir in the sugar, which will help sweeten our product, the baking powder and baking soda, which are our leavening agents to help make it rise. But don't worry, they won't be activated quite yet, not until a liquid or an acid has been added to them. And finally, we're going to add in the salt to help improve our natural flavor within our dish today. Once all your dry ingredients are in the bowl, give it a nice quick stir with a wooden spoon. Remember, there's lots of air in our mixture. Try not to stir it crazily. Be gentle. Step 4. In a medium bowl, combine beaten egg, melted butter, and buttermilk. Stir to combine. This is the second step of the muffin method. Now hopefully, between the time it's taken for the melted butter to come out of the microwave and this step, it has cooled down enough. This is very important because if you add too hot of butter to the egg, you will cook the egg in the medium bowl and kind of render it useless. So very important the butter has cooled down. Combine your egg, the butter, and our buttermilk and really give it a good stir. Use a fork to help mix it all together. And if the egg is doing its job right, you won't see the butter separating from the milk. It will be a well-combined mixture. Step 5. Make a well in the dry ingredients. Pour liquids into the well all at once. Stir until the flour is moistened. Batter should be lumpy. Do not overmix because pancakes will be tough and heavy. This is the third step of the muffin method. Now a well is just like digging a fancy hole in the middle of your dry ingredients. Make sure you're using a wooden spoon because the big paddle of the wooden spoon won't necessarily disrupt the air in our mixture. Also, when you start to mix the liquids with the dry, it won't agitate the gluten too much in the flour because as soon as that flour gets wet, the gluten will be activated. Now use a good old rubber spatula to scrape all the liquids out of that bowl and add them all at once. Now you can see with the wooden spoon, I am gently stirring and just making sure that the dry ingredients are just moistened and combined. Check for any pockets of dry flour towards the bottom of the bowl and stop stirring. Don't overdo it. Muffin batter is very lumpy, and because pancakes use the muffin method of mixing, the pancake batter should be lumpy as well. So when you see lumpy batter, that's a good thing. Now, once the liquids have been added to the dry ingredients, you might notice small little bubbles starting to form on your batter because our leavening agents are starting to work. As soon as that acid hits the baking soda, you do see some of the carbon dioxide rising up. So let's get this over to the pan and start cooking. Step 6. Heat a little oil in the frying pan. Test with drops of water to see if the frying pan is hot enough. Water should sizzle and not pop.
Now these frying pans found within your unit work really well for pancakes. It is very important that we get every side and bottom area covered in oil, but not too much, as pancakes tend to soak up the oil as they're cooking. So using a paper towel, I'm going to help rub and spread the oil all over in a thin coat. Then I'll move it to the stove to slowly heat up and bake that oil onto the frying pan so it has a nice non-stick surface for our pancakes to cook on.
Let's test to see if our frying pan is hot enough. I have a little bit of cold water on the ends of my fingertips. If I flick it, I should hear a sizzle sound. My pan is hot enough, which means my pancakes won't stick to it while I'm cooking, and we're good to go. Step 7. Pour in batter in 50 milliliter amounts. Pancakes are ready to be flipped when they become dry around the edges and when the bubbles that have formed have popped, burst. Flip once only and cook until underside is golden brown. Pancakes will be heavy if turned more than once. The structure will collapse. Alright, so I'm going to use the measure to pour in my pancakes, and if I kind of want the nice circular shape, I'm going to use the measure to push the batter around. Remember, this is a drop batter, it's very thick, it doesn't spread out as easily as a pour batter. Now, as you can see, as the pancakes are cooking, little bubbles are rising to the top and they're popping open, and what I'm really looking for is that the edges are starting to dry out. That's really my indication it's ready to flip over. Now remember, once you see the bubbles, you can always take a little peek with your lifter and flip. There we go, golden brown tops. Make sure you keep an eye on the temperature on these pans. These are really dark colored pans and they tend to absorb heat and keep heating up as we're cooking on the stovetop. You are allowed to lower the temperature. Now I just transfer them to a cookie sheet and I'll pop those into the oven to keep warm and move on to my next batch. Oops, I dropped a couple drops off my 50 ml dry measure there, but don't worry, just leave that into the pan. If that happens to you too, we can always clean it out of the pan when we go to flip the pancakes, so that's not a worry. Oh, look, you can see all those lovely little bubbles rising to the top and bursting open. And again, I'm keeping an eye on the edge. Once you think you're ready, give it a peek and flip. And there I can clean out those little drips out of the pan, not a problem. And so again, looking for that lovely golden brown color, and hopefully we have a really nice time baking in the pan. So again, transfer to another cookie sheet and let's pour in our next round of pancakes. You want to keep cooking until you used up all the batter. And again, make sure you keep an eye on that pan temperature. Again, we don't want to burn the next batch. Step 8. Place pancakes in a single layer on a cookie sheet. Keep warm in the oven until ready to serve. Just make sure you stack your pancakes on a single layer on the cookie sheet, because if you put them on top of each other, the steam from the bottom one will make the top one soggy. So single layer only. Step 9. Serve pancakes with berry sauce and turkey bacon. Don't forget about the art of presentation and arrange your plate in an attractive manner. The yield for this recipe is 8 medium-sized pancakes. Groups of 5 will make 10 medium-sized pancakes. Method for the fried turkey bacon. Step 1. Lay strips of bacon in a single layer in a dry frying pan, no oil. Do not let the bacon touch or overlap. Now, turkey bacon, even though it has less fat than bacon, still has some fat, so we don't actually have to grease the pan and add in extra oil. Now what you're going to notice is that the turkey bacon is actually pretty thick, and so we can't cook it all at once in the frying pan. You'll probably have to do 2 strips at a time and do 2 batches. We want to make sure they don't overlap or touch, because if they do, that means it's too thick of a product section that's not being cooked evenly, and we might have a section that has raw protein, and that's not safe for someone to eat. So keeping it in a single layer, not touching, means everything is going to be safe later. Step 2. Fry bacon on low or medium-low heat. When bacon starts to buckle and curl, use tongs to loosen the strips and turn to cook on the other side. Turn bacon frequently so that it browns evenly. So when you start to see the turkey bacon starting to shrink a little bit and the edges start to curl, and you might notice sort of popping on the surface of the bacon, that's the buckle we're talking about, then you know you're starting to get ready to flip. And you can use our silicone safe tongs in the frying pan, and you can lift it up, take a peek. You won't really overhandle the protein, making it too tough and chewy at this point. You can flip it as many times as you need, making sure that you're cooking evenly and turning so that if you have a hot spot in your pan, you will cook the bacon evenly. This pan's pretty good, but I have seen others in our classroom where there's definitely a hot spot and a cool spot in the pan. So again, rotate your bacon as needed. Step 3. Cook until bacon is evenly browned and to your preferred degree of crispiness. Take note that the bacon will continue to cook a little out of the pan and will stiffen up upon cooling. So I like to see a nice golden kind of caramel color on the bacon, and I want to have that lovely kind of crispiness and crunch. I think that's a nice texture to pair with our soft fluffy pancakes. So once you think your bacon has been done, remember we're looking for a nice color change to happen. That way we know we've cooked the protein to a high and safe temperature to kill off any potentially harmful bacteria that could be found in it. You can pull the bacon out with your tongs and put the next batch in and cook up the next few slices. Remember, don't let them touch. Step 4. Use tongs to transfer the bacon strips to a plate lined with paper towels. Now we're going to line a large dinner plate with paper towel and place the bacon strips across it in a single layer. The paper towel will absorb any excess fat that might be dripping off of the bacon that you don't need to consume. And by the way, the paper towel that's on the plate is compostable, so make sure you put it in the proper green bin, not into the garbage. And as your bacon sits here on the plate, you might notice it cools down a little bit and stiffens, and you will have a lovely crispy texture to go with your fluffy pancakes. The yield for this recipe is 1 strip of turkey bacon per person. Method for the berry sauce. Step 1. Combine sugar and cornstarch in a saucepan and mix well. Now, a tip for you is that if we're heating up sugar in a pan, it's best to pull out your heaviest bottom saucepan that you have in your unit. You're less likely to burn this mixture if you have a good solid bottom touching the element. Now we're going to just give our sugar and cornstarch a good stir with a wooden spoon. We're really just looking to make sure there's no lumps in either of the dry ingredients. So just make sure you give it a good stir, check for lumps, and break them up if you find any. Step 2. Add a small amount of water to make a paste. Add remaining water and berries. Mix thoroughly. Now when we're adding the water to our cornstarch mixture, it's super important we go slow. If you just drop the water all in at once, what will happen is the cornstarch will kind of float on the top and not dissolve very well. So really go slowly, make a paste, and as soon as it's thick, you can slowly start adding the water more and more until it's a nice cloudy liquid. Once you've done that, you can drop your frozen fruit in directly, and it's okay if the fruit is frozen. Once the water starts boiling, the fruit will defrost and it will be all fine. Step 3. Bring to a boil slowly over medium heat. Stir constantly until mixture is thickened and clear. So one thing I find that if you have large frozen berries, so you can see in my pot I have a really big strawberry in there, you're going to have to really wait for it to defrost a little bit, and you might have to use your wooden spoon to mash that fruit up a little bit. That way it cooks just as fast as the smaller berries in the bunch. So I have smaller blueberries in there. As the mixture is heating up, it's really important you do stir constantly. There is sugar in this recipe, and the sugar has a tendency to burn. So if you're constantly stirring, it should be all good. And that way you can feel the bottom of the pan with the wooden spoon. And if you start to notice it kind of hardening or sticking, again, lower the temperature slowly. You are in control of the temperature the whole time. Keep mashing all that fruit with your wooden spoon and breaking it up. And what you're going to notice is that the cornstarch in the mixture, that's what's making it look really white and cloudy right now. As it heats up, it begins swelling up with all the water in the pot, and then it starts thickening up and clearing, and you're going to see a lovely kind of berry sauce that's rich and deep color forming. And once you have that lovely, deep, rich, clear sauce, no longer cloudy, you can turn off the heat and you're done. You really know you're done if it can coat the back of the wooden spoon. That's sort of the key indicator that your sauce has thickened and it's ready to be served. Now, one thing you might want to do is pour the berry sauce into a small bowl and just let it cool down a little bit. The sugar is so scalding hot that you would burn your lips if you try to taste it at this moment. But make sure you serve it warm, because that's the best with the buttermilk pancakes. The yield for this recipe serves 4 to 5 people. Tests for doneness. Buttermilk pancakes. 1. Pancakes separates from the pan easily. 2. Bubbles pop and stay open, and the edges of the pancake look dry. 3. Golden brown color. Fried turkey bacon. 1. Evenly browned. Berry sauce. 1. Mixture has thickened and cleared. Standards. 1. Light and fluffy. This shows that you incorporated a lot of air into your beginning of your mixture by sifting your flour, as well as you didn't flip your pancake too many times, keeping the texture nice and light and not compacting. 2. Small grain. This shows that you didn't overmix your batter, causing the gluten to be developed too much, causing large tunnels and air holes to be formed in the pancake. Should be very compact grain, no giant tunnels. 3. Lightly brown. It's important that you cook both sides of the pancake until you see that lovely golden brown color. If it looks too dark, you've burnt it. So keep an eye on your temperature. Low and slow can be the order of the day. 4. No crusty edges. Pancakes that are often left on a frying pan longer than they need to be will dry out completely, making the edges very hard, tough, and chewy. 5. Not raw inside. That you cooked your pancake for equal amount of time on both sides, and that your pan wasn't too hot, causing you to accidentally flip it too early, making it raw in the middle. 6. Nice shape. You made sure that the same amount of batter was in every single pancake. They have a lovely circular shape and they're all uniform in size, and you didn't end up with one that is too big or too small. These are all the standards for the buttermilk pancakes. Let's take a look at my demonstration. Here I have a nice circular shape, and you notice that the color is a lovely shade of golden brown. If I flip it over, I have a nice golden brown color on the underside too. Has a great thickness. You can tell it rose really well with our baking powder reaction. Now if I take a paring knife and cut it in half, we could take a look at the grain on the inside of the pancake. Here you have a nice structure. I don't see large gluteny tunnels. It's very compact, and I don't have a raw bottom edge as well, so it's nicely cooked through. These classic buttermilk pancakes are a great way to test out your skills with the muffin method. Pairing them with a great berry sauce and a side of turkey bacon makes it a more nutritious, complete meal. I hope you enjoyed making them as much as I did. Happy cooking, and thanks for watching.